it's nice to have a plant in here and just sort of see how everything is coming together and working. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Kathryn, the Aerogarden Homesteader, and today is all about the Bounty prototype. Obviously, you can see that I got it finished. I got it printed out, I got it installed. The cord spot works really well. The problem is, I don't know what happened with my print, but it kind of pops up on the edges, so something I'm going to have to figure out why that did that. So it does have a bit of play in just the edge here. It also, I mustn't have measured properly because it seems like I've got a little bit of wiggle room back and forth here, so it's not quite resting on this front or back edge, so I just have to be a little bit careful. I do still need to design the water port cover. I'm not too concerned about that right now. It's proof of concept, so technically I could move the plants to another deck and everything would still be going fine. I do find that the net pots sit a little loose in here, and the reason why I point that out is because I did print another one. This is a 3-inch net pot. Fitting in here, it's a little loose, but it sits a little better than it does in the one for the Bounty. So I think that whatever sizes I used for the harvest deck hole, I want to recreate for the Bounty. I do need to also, so this is not a 2.0. This is just, I straight up printed another one exactly the same except for the size of the net pot. So I did not go back in and redo the cord hole. It needs to be slightly bigger just to have a little bit more play for the cord because it's a bit of a tight fit. When I really snap that down, the cord doesn't slide around or move, and I don't want to pinch the cord. So this is just a little bit more loose than I would like. But the plants which I put in probably about 4 or 5 days ago, they are putting out their roots. They're starting to come along nicely, and I do need to tweak these, you know, the setup, but it's nice to have a plant in here and just sort of see how everything is coming together and working. I could technically make the cord hole a little bit smaller and still be fine. I have not fully tested the holes for the trellis, but hopefully they work, and if not, it's a 1.0, it's fine, I don't really mind. It does have the handles, but given that it has a bit of a tendency to have that bounce, and I don't really trust the handles, so. But underneath, I don't know if you can see this very well, but underneath, this is just loose. It just sits in there and just does its thing. So that is something I would like to look into, finding a way to sort of hook the adapter up to the bottom here, but I'm not sure if there's a way to do that. I think the better way to do it would be to put a new adapter on the pump assembly and then just have pins that it slots into, you know, just holes that, you know, the pins would push into, and then it would just keep everything stable. In the grand scheme of things, I'm not sure that it really matters. The only thing I'm kind of missing, and it's just because I didn't feel like running downstairs and getting it at the time, and then it just slipped my mind, is on the harvest, we've got the little assembly for the pump just to pump the water up. I didn't put it on my Bounty just because it was downstairs with everything else, and I would have to track it down. So I do need to track that down. It just brings the water up a little higher and causes more of a bubbling effect, and it aerates the water a bit better. So it is good to have that, but I just don't have it on right now. And the thing I did, so these are integrated pins. On this one, because I was literally printing right to the edge of my print bed, the pins actually pull out and can be assembled in place, kind of like Lego in a way. So that is where I'm at, and right now I'm just testing to see how all of this is coming together. And then, as I said, I did print out a new one of these because I have one habanero did survive. It's doing kind of poorly outside. Our weather has been so strange lately. We have been getting our weather has been really strange lately. We've been getting really warm during the day, and my husband considers mid-80s to be really warm, even though I'm like, it's okay. But we've been getting down really cold at night. So I think all of my pepper plants have been really struggling. We've been getting down to the mid-40s. My pea plants, I never get good pea plants in the spring because we just get a really short spring and all of a sudden it's just really hot day and night. Well, we've been getting pretty warm during the day, but we've been staying really cool at night. And so my pea plants have been doing really well, but my pepper plants are totally struggling. This has been outside, so I will obviously remove all the soil because I don't need the soil in here, but I'm going to show you how I am transplanting from the soil into the lava rock so that you can kind of see the process. And you know, it's a little bit work intense because I have to rinse all of the dirt off the roots, but it's not too bad. And if the plants were a little smaller, it would probably be possible to just pull out the little, you know, just dig it out and pull out the little seed with the one single root and get it in there a little bit easier than having to deal with a larger root structure. But I will show you how that comes together. And then I will go through and show you the rest of the plant updates because not much has changed, but I just want you to sort of see how everything is progressing through as time changes. Okay, and as promised, I'm going to show you how I transplant these. So typically what I do is I take the dirt out, and then I gently shake off as much of the soil as possible, but it's only going to get so much off. So at that point, I am just trying to rinse off as much as possible. This is more so I don't clog up my filter, especially on the Bounty. I didn't actually mention that, but that little sponge cover does not fit on the pump assembly. That's actually part of the cover that is attached to the top of the lid. So this is a smaller plant. I just kind of hold it in place so that the roots dangle. You could always preload a few of the rinsed lava rock before putting it in. But then I try to be gentle when I put the lava rock in because they do have sharp edges and you don't want to damage your roots. And definitely make sure you're handling them with gloves because you don't want to cut yourself either. I know they do make tumbled lava rock, but that's more for like fireplace inserts and they were really expensive. So that, and you don't get very much. So that was not something I felt was worth looking into. But this is just regular lava rock, decorative lava rock that you would put in your garden. So I do try to position the stones around the stem to support the plant because at this point you see it just sort of flops over. It's really floppy, so if I can help support it, I think I'm going to have to rinse a few more rocks and put them in. I do prefer the smaller ones rather than the bigger ones, but it's kind of what will fit in your net pot without damaging your plant. So that might need another one just to help support it, but other than that, that's pretty much it. I rinse off the dirt, I rinse off the rocks, and then I just put them in to help support the plant and help it grow in that nice upright conformation. But that's it. This will just go in the harvest and start growing. It's going to get fed today, so that'll be really good. The other ones didn't get fed right away. They kind of had to wait a few days for me to catch up to feeding day, so it just kind of is what it is. Here is the wonderful bean experiment. I do have a few more beans that need to be picked. I am not sure how much longer these plants are going to make it. I have a very big spider mite infestation. It's just been getting bigger and bigger because I've kind of been unable to treat it. I'm not quite sure how to treat it because there's so many dead leaves in here. It's like a lot of them are just hanging loose or ready to fall off at a second's notice. So I really believe that even though I've got some nice new growth happening and there's flowers that are going to start forming soon, I feel that I am really close to the point where I need to just pick the rest of them. You know, it doesn't matter how big or small they are. I've got some nice small ones in here, but I'm just probably going to have to pick what can be eaten and then just get it all pulled out. So over here I do have, these are the Blue Lake. They're putting out flowers. So it's like I feel really bad. I'm not 100% sure that the spider mites have made it over to this side. So what might end up happening is I'll take down the first side, so these ones over here, despite the new growth, and I'll give this one a little bit longer because it does still have some smaller ones. I do have some that are just not really making it, but I do have some smaller ones in here that I think will make it, given a little bit longer. This one, for the most part, has most of them, I think, with all of these little ones, but it's pushing out a lot of nice new growth. So the Blue Lake is a really nice one. The Contender, it is also putting out some growth. I've got some growth down here, got some growth over here, so more flowers. So the Contender is also a pretty good plant for getting lots of nice new growth going on. So I think it just depends on what you're looking for. The Yellow Cherokee did really well with new growth, but for some strange reason, the Royal Burgundy it's not putting out growth, and it's, in fact, I wonder if it's just stressed from the spider mites. So that one is probably the first one that's going to have to come out immediately, and then I might let the yellow Cherokee truck along just a little bit longer. The spider mites have made it there, but I might let it go a little bit longer. It also breaks up the amount of cleaning I need to do in one shot. So that'll, I don't know if that helps or not, but we'll see. And then I could go through and prune some of these off, but I don't know, see if those might be flowers, and I'd be leery of pruning those off if they are. But yeah, see, I think this one put out new flowers on the stem that had some beans on it, so it's hard to tell. But I will let this one truck along, and we'll just kind of see. And here is the cherry tomato. It is looking really good, and I think we are super close on at least 3 of them being ripe enough to pick. And then we've got a few more that are starting up. So this one's doing really well. It's putting out some new sucker growth, so that's really nice. More flowers, I believe. And it's putting out like a nice stem in the back which has flower nodes on it, and it's just going crazy. It is definitely trying to take up as much space as it possibly can. And then down here we got a nice thick stem, which obviously is going to be a problem on removal, but I don't have to worry about that right now. It's going to be a future me problem, but yeah, it's going to be annoying. So this one did get a little bit more food. I gave this one 10 ml the last time I did a feed. Today it is scheduled for another feed, and I will be giving it another 10 ml. So it seems like it's doing really well with 10 ml right now, pushing out new growth and being able to support the tomatoes that it's already got, as well as putting out new flowers. So I feel like it's at the point where it can handle the 10 ml without having any burn on the leaves or, you know, dropping of the flowers from too much fertilizer. So that's a good amount for it right now. I'll just keep evaluating if it needs more food or not, just based on how it looks. And finally, the harvest with the other tomato. This one is doing really well. I do have a lot of grossness going on around the port, but that's fine. That is something that can be cleaned. The plant looks nice and healthy. It is also trying to expand out. I might give it a little turn and just see if I can take the leaf that's on this side and move it over to this side so it's getting a little bit of light and it's not really encroaching over into the space where this is where the jalapenos are going to go temporarily. So they'll be fine here for now, but this is under a cabinet, and so I don't want to, the lid can only go up so high, or the hood can only go up so high before it'll hit the cabinet, and I don't want to, you know, impede the growth of my jalapenos, especially since my ones outside are doing really bad because of the weather. So I think what I can do is, this leaf here does not have any flower nodes on it, so I can probably go in and snip that one and it'll help free up a little bit of space. There's another one back here that I might also be able to take out, as well as I think this one on top I might be able to take out. And I think that given the, I don't know if you can see it more on this leaf, it's got a little bit of sort of damage going on. I think it might be time to increase the amount of food that it's receiving, because I don't think it's dropping a lot of flowers, but this is one that has dropped. See, it's attached to the stem still, so that's a flower drop, versus these ones are just the flower part dropping off of the bottom of the tomato. So these ones are okay, that one's not. So I think it's fine to start increasing the food just a little bit, and I think that will help with a little bit of the issues it might be having, just to sort of head those off earlier rather than later. So this one's doing really well. Let's see if we can see the stem. So, boy, that rock is really stuck. I don't know if you can see, it is really bulky. It looks almost like it's the same thickness as the one in the back to the roots. So it's looking really nice and healthy. It's still a really compact plant compared to the other one. This is kind of the first branch that has decided to go off on its own. And hopefully it'll be pretty easy for me to just lift the net pot up and turn it around. But I don't know if you can really see the difference between, this is the 2-inch net pot and the other one had the 3-inch net pot. This tomato will remain in the 2-inch net pot for its life, but we'll see how well the 3-inch, I think the 3-inch will do a lot better, and so that's kind of why I upgraded the harvest deck to a 3-inch as well. I think it's worth having the option to do both, because sometimes a 2-inch is probably appropriate. If I was just doing cilantro, I'm sure a 2-inch would just be perfect. Throw in a 5 or 6 cilantro plants and, you know, you're good to go. The only issue would be you'd probably have to start some of that stuff in rock wool or the peat pots instead of using the lava stone. But anyways, I hope you found this video useful. I hope you are excited for the Bounty deck. If you have any questions about it or things that you think you would like to see on it, let me know, because I'm still kind of in the design phase, and you know, there's things that you just don't think about that you go, oh yeah, that would have been really good. So, you know, let me know if there's something you think I'm missing, and you know, I'll see if I can try to work it in there. You know, some of it is going to be hard to make a 2-part deck. They're using, you know, it's obviously extruded, and I am 3D printing it, so that would be hard for me to do, but there's probably a way to figure out a port system where the water gets piped up and just follows a little channel. But again, how hard would that be to clean? So, but yeah, if you can think of something that you think I'm missing, or you know, just something I'm missing from the big picture, let me know. But otherwise, yeah, I'm really excited to see how the Bounty deck starts, you know, with the plants actually in it. That's when push comes to shove and real world meets, you know, your fantasy. So thank you so much for watching. I'll have some videos up at the end that you might enjoy, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.